Hello everybody, I'm here to give you my review of the brand new film Jurassic World, just released on June 12th. So the Jurassic Park series has a long history in Hollywood. The very first film came out in 1993. Let's think about that. 93, I was 1 year old, just one. And ironically enough, Jurassic Park, the original, was the very first film that I saw in theaters as a 1 year old. So that year I actually saw The Lion King in theaters, so I saw 2 films in theaters, which kind of explains why I'm such a big movie buff right now. But the reason I bring this up is because Jurassic Park has such a profound history on the history of filmmaking. When director Steven Spielberg released the first film, it opened to critical and commercial success. I mean, like, the film did so much for special effects, visual effects, and just storytelling overall, and the special occasion of seeing dinosaurs finally on screen in a live action movie was something that you couldn't miss. So Jurassic Park, the original film, based off of the novel, has its place in cinema history. Now, the 2 sequels that followed, nobody really cares to bring those up because they just weren't good. They weren't good at all. So here we are, 22 years later, and we get Jurassic World, 22 years after the release of the very first film. And you can tell that this is a hotly anticipated film because last night the theater was sold out completely. And it's actually just been confirmed that Jurassic World has the biggest Friday opening ever, the biggest pure Friday opening ever. Jurassic World is a really big film and had a huge opening. Like I said, the theater was sold out, so this is a film that you must see. And the cast for this movie is also really impressive. You got Chris Pratt, Bryce Dallas Howard, Vincent D'Onofrio, Jake Johnson. You got a lot of really good actors and actresses in place to drive this story forward. So to give a brief premise of the plot without giving away any spoilers, basically the original Jurassic Park, they opened it, it pretty much failed. They figured out it wasn't safe. It was very dangerous to have these DNA tested dinosaurs in the park. But here we are, 20 years later after the first movie, they decide that they're gonna do it again. They're gonna reopen a park, but they're gonna make it bigger, better, and more exciting for all the visitors. So Jurassic World, as they call it, is much more of a SeaWorld in comparison. There's a lot more attractions, there's a lot more thrill rides in the park, and a lot more things for people to actually see instead of just driving by and looking at dinosaurs. Because of course we as people, we get bored very easily, so the thought process behind that is nobody just wants to see the dinosaurs, they want to be right next to them, they want to have thrill rides based around them. So that's the purpose of Jurassic World, the new park. Of course, rich billionaires and scientists, they just go crazy with this idea and they decide, hey, let's build a brand new dinosaur. Let's genetically engineer and produce a brand new dinosaur that's bigger and badder than anything you've ever seen before. So this dinosaur is called the Indominus Rex, which is, you know, kind of a play on the Tyrannosaurus Rex, and it has DNA from other species and animals to create this brand new genetically designed dinosaur that technically didn't exist 65 million years ago, but it's built specifically for the purpose of being in Jurassic World. Well, the one problem is they decide to raise a dinosaur in captivity for all of its life, and that can go so south so quick. You know, one of the themes of this film is the symbolism of consumer and corporate excess. That's the purpose of why the dinosaur was built. We're surrounded by things that make us wonder and have us in awe, but we want more. We want things that are more dangerous, more thrilling. And sure enough, they created a pretty dynamic killing machine, just so to say. I mean, and that's not a spoiler. You just can automatically figure that this new hybrid of dinosaur is going to be something that's not to be messed with. And you know, once they get the plot, you know, devices in play and they get the writing and the script in play for the movie, it's just an all-out thrill ride from there on. Like, I had a tremendously fun time in the theater watching this movie. Like, I didn't expect to have so much fun watching this movie, but I really did. Like, overall, I was just sitting there finding myself, you know, really engulfed in this world, this Jurassic World that they had built. And it felt special and it felt new. And I think the really cool thing about Jurassic World is that it has a lot of callbacks to the first movie. It has a lot of callbacks to Jurassic Park. There's some things, if you've seen Jurassic Park recently, you'll be able to say, okay, that's kind of an homage to that movie. You know, in this movie, we get action, adventure, we get sci-fi, we get a good combination of things that make this story overall really enjoyable. Like, from start to finish, it's pretty much a thrill ride all the way through. If you've ever been to a theme park and you've been on a thrill ride, that's what it really reminds me of. Like, you're encountering all these different dangerous aspects of, you know, dinosaurs, and here they are face to face with humans, and you don't know what's gonna happen. It just makes you think, like, the people in these movies are, like, obviously stupid. Who would purposely create, you know, dinosaurs off of other, you know, species DNA in order to create this park? You know, it's basically greed, it's desire, it's the want for more money, more thrills, all of these things. It's just stupid. Like, any person that would purposely create a velociraptor, you know, and have it this close to human beings is just an idiot in my mind. So I mean, off of that premise, you know, it's not a very smart concept, but it does create for some fun. I think overall we as humans are really fascinated with the idea of dinosaurs since they were here before we got here, but just the fascination of living together with them and what that would look like. I don't think it would look good, but just, you know, overall what that idea would look like, that's something that really sparks our interest, which is why I think the Jurassic Park films have done so well in the box office. But again, to the movie is a really good movie overall. It's a thrill ride. I mean, there are some plot holes that do exist in the script, but you know, those are some of the things that I just kind of suspended, you know, before the movie even began. I'm not expecting the most intelligently crafted movie. I'm expecting to have a really good time in the theater, and that's what I got. And I would attribute that to two things. One would certainly be the cast. I think the cast did a really good job of playing their role in this film. Chris Pratt is, you know, definitely one of the biggest stars on the planet now. You know, after Guardians of the Galaxy last year, this movie this year, he solidified his status as one of Hollywood's big stars. Bryce Dallas Howard, she did a really good job too. You know, there were some points where I just kind of didn't believe her performance, but you know, overall I think she did a really good job as well. And Vincent D'Onofrio, he was also splendid in his job. He was kind of the antagonist of the film, at least on the human side, and you know, he played that really well. I mean, he was just coming off of Daredevil, you know, on Netflix, and he was the perfect antagonist, so he's been playing those roles successfully as of late. And Jake Johnson, he's in the movie. He's like a tech person behind the park. He has all the funny moments in the movie. He was brilliant. Like, every point in the movie, he had like witty humor coming at him, and had, again, some callbacks to the original. He was great in his role as well. I will say that was a little unfortunate because I was hoping that Chris Pratt had more of those funny moments. Like, he played his role well, but Chris Pratt is a funny, charming, witty guy, like, and I wanted to see a little bit more of that from him. For the majority of the movie, he was pretty much the more serious, like, action stud guy, like, that's gonna, you know, save the day. I do wish we got a little bit more of that humor from him that he is known for. But, you know, that's not something that I can blame on Chris Pratt. I think he played his role very well. I think that's something that's more, you know, part of the writer's job to try to incorporate those elements into his character. But trust me, as this movie approaches its end, you know, and I'm not going to spoil anything, but as it approaches its end and gets towards the climax, it is amazing. Like, it's badass. Like, the final scene that they had, it was excellent. And I'm just gonna say, it was a battle, and it delivered above expectations for me. I don't think I've seen a battle like that from creatures such as this in a really long time. It was certainly enjoyable. Just to give you a hint, if you haven't seen the movie, it's what Godzilla should have been at the end of its movie. Like, it's what it should have been, but it didn't end up being. But that just goes to show that Jurassic World is a really great monster movie. Like, it's a monster movie at its heart, at its core, which, you know, Universal has had a long, illustrious history of creating monster movies. You think of Jaws and the Frankensteins and the Draculas and the Wolfmans. Jurassic Park and Jurassic World are added to that canon of monster movies. And we as moviegoers have a really big fascination with monster movies that, you know, we always seem to just continue to go back to the theaters to see them. The second reason why I think the movie worked so well were the visual effects. These were the best visual effects in any Jurassic Park film up to this date, of course, because we're in the present day, but it really rivals a lot of other films in Hollywood. The special effects overall were spectacular. You know, I think we've reached a point where you can't really go any further with special effects anymore, but Jurassic World spared no expense to make sure that these dinosaurs looked as real and as believable as possible. So definitely go check out Jurassic World if you have not seen it yet. Like, trust me, get your tickets early because the movie theater is probably going to be sold out. Everybody is waiting on this movie. It's been 20 years since we've gotten a good Jurassic Park movie, so go get your tickets now to go see this movie. Overall, I have to give this film an 8 out of 10 for the spectacular visual effects, for the good characters. It's a decent plot and storyline. It's not hard to follow. And the action overall is just great, you know, to watch. So Jurassic World definitely exceeded my expectations. Those are my thoughts on the film. As always, follow me on social media and check out my website for more information on entertainment, reviews, movies, music, all the works. And I'll catch y'all next time.